Welcome back into Sportsmemo's betting podcast. NFL, every game on the board. The last segment of it, last half, the back half of the NFL card here. Last segment of the podcast for the week. We got our closer in here, Hunter Englehart. Hunter, welcome into the pod. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Drew. Thanks for having me. I kind of like that. You know, I'm a baseball guy, and we're gonna hammer these last half of the games on the slate. So we bring in the closer. I like that.
Absolutely. Hunter killing it in baseball, also NFL, his two main sports here. So hopefully find some winners here for the listeners. Starting off here, 275-276, Seattle at Pittsburgh. We got 47 being the total. Pittsburgh Steelers laying 3.5 at home, Hunter. What are you thinking here?
I'm going to lean towards the Steelers. I know they didn't look good at all against New England, but that New England defense, you know, I'm sure people have read about it, and, you know, Tom Brady was excited about it. Everyone was excited about it. They just looked really, really good against this Pittsburgh team. And in Seattle, honestly, they didn't really look that good against the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals win total over-under, I think, was 5.5 or 6 or something like that. And you know, this Bengals defense really doesn't have a lot of key players on it. I'm leaning Pittsburgh in this game, especially because they're at home, and I like a lot of points in this game. I'm leaning towards the over.
All right, good stuff to start off. 277-278. We got San Francisco at Cincinnati. 45.5 being the total. Looks like the Bengals laying 2 to 1.5, depending where you're shopping here, Hunter.
Yeah, and I know it opened up at the 49ers -1, and I think it's all the way up to switch to the Bengals now -2. I think if the Bengals gets to -3, I like the 49ers plus the points. But in this game, you know, I'm staying away from it myself. But if I had to lean, I would lean on the under and the 49ers in this one.
Yeah, interesting aspect here with San Francisco staying on the East Coast all week, not flying back towards the West Coast and then back to the East Coast. We talked about this with Teddy Covers on the opening line report, which will be posted on Monday, each and every Monday throughout football season. He was a big proponent of that being a positive, just more practice time, and really it's reflecting on the coach. So that he likes San Francisco here, but obviously the market kind of going towards the Bengals. I don't know, interesting handicap both ways. We'll head to a rivalry game here up next, Hunter. We got the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. 43.5 being the total. Seeing 2.5 pretty much across the board. Not many of the sports books wanting to go up to 3, and of course 3 being a huge key number here in the NFL. So it's going to take a little bit more money on the Packers to push it up to 3. Either way, what are you thinking with the Vikings and Packers?
I mean, it's in my opinion, it's tough to go into Lambeau and beat Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau, and especially with this Green Bay defense. I know we saw the most boring opening game I could ever remember watching when Green Bay played Chicago last week. I don't know how much of that is attributed to the quarterback. Oh, geez, I can't even believe I can't even think of his freaking name right now. I'm blanking out. But anyways, he just looked absolutely terrible. The play calling was terrible. You know, their running back situation was terrible for the Bears. So it was Trubisky. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was just an all around bad offense by Chicago, and I think that made the Green Bay defense look a lot better than they are. I do think they improved. They got some young guys on the defensive backs. They brought in Amos in the safety position. I think Rodgers didn't get a lot of preseason work, so he was kind of rusty. And then when we looked at that Vikings game when they played the Falcons last week, I mean, Dalvin Cook just ran all over the Falcons. You know, Cousins barely had to pass the ball. A lot of people are thinking this is going to be an under game with the 44. I think it's listed at right now. I'm actually leaning towards the over in this game. I think both defenses looked a lot better than they actually are as a team in Week 1. And I think Aaron Rodgers gets back on track with this weak Vikings front four compared to the best front four in the league that he played last week. I think he's going to get more time in the pocket, and I think we're going to see a high-scoring game, in my opinion.
All right, from the NFC North to the AFC West we go. Kansas City Chiefs at the Oakland Raiders. Seeing the Chiefs -7, -7.5, depending where you're shopping. We got 53.5 the total. This one in Oakland. Well, not many home games left in the NFL in Oakland, but we got one here. What do you think of Kansas City at Oakland?
This game is very, very interesting to me, and the reason I say that is because Gruden is the quarterback guru, as everybody knows, and Mahomes right now is obviously the hottest quarterback on the face of the planet. I like the Chiefs to win this game. I think is it still 7.5, Drew?
We're seeing mostly 7s right now. It pretty much across the board. There is a 7.5 out there, but no, the prevailing number is mostly 7.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm staying away from this game on the points. Obviously, I think the Chiefs win this game, but I think just because Gruden is such a quarterback guru, and he studies these quarterbacks so well. I mean, we saw it with Flacco last week. I just think that Gruden is going to be able to tell that defense and, how to approach with what Mahomes does great and try to focus on Mahomes doing the stuff he doesn't do great. I still think they win this game, but I do like the Raiders plus 7.5. I'm not betting it. If I had to lean, I would lean the Raiders plus 7.5. And for that same reason that I just said about Gruden being the quarterback guru, I'm leaning towards the under in this game. I think 52.5 is just way too much, and I think that Raiders offense look way better than they actually are against that Broncos team last week.
All right, Hunter. Next game up, a big rematch of one of the worst referee blunders of really our lifetime here. New Orleans at the L.A. Rams, rematch of the NFC Championship game, 52 being the total. Rams laying 1.5 or 2 at home.
Yeah, and I can't get a read on this over under of 52. In my opinion, I think it's either going to be like a low 40s or in the low 60s. It's going to be one of the two. In my opinion, I think these defenses are either going to be outstanding or these offenses are just going to totally take over the game here. I see it's minus 2.5 here towards the Rams. Jared Goff didn't look great last week, and we saw that Carolina Panthers team that played last night. They didn't look very good at all last night against. I mean, granted, Cam Newton isn't the same old Cam Newton that we saw in the past, but I think this Saints team is a lot better offensively right now than this Rams team. Todd Gurley's usage has been up and down. They got another running back in there who's getting time splits, and I think the Saints defense is actually a lot better than people think it is, and I think they can put some pressure on Jared Goff. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Saints pull off an upset here, especially on the road.
All right, like in the Saints on the road. We got the Sunday Nighter and the Monday Nighter to finish it off here with Hunter Englehart. Hunter, mostly concentrated on the NFL and MLB right now. And his MLB, guys, if you're an MLB bettor still, 74-66, up 64 return on investment here. So if you've been betting with Hunter all season long, you've been doing really well. His last 38 totals plays, he's hitting 70%. So he's got a beat here on the diamond. Used to be a college baseball player, right, Hunter?
Yep. I played some college at a pretty high level, and then I came out to play some professional baseball, and then the injury bug got me, and that was it for me. So I needed a way to get back into the game and stay in the game, and I think I found my calling.
Yeah, okay. Good stuff. And also in the NFL doing pretty good. NFL regular season and preseason so far. The spread side's 4-0. And he's also putting up some pretty good free plays. So check it out at sportsmemo.com. You want to just try it out, see how he's doing. 20-15 plus 6 units on the year. So check him out at Hunter Englehart. And of course, doing NFL and MLB, a little bit of college football, but mostly NFL and MLB. Good time to do the all access package, guys, and it's normally over $300 for a 30-day all access, but with the podcast coupon code of Hunter99, that's HUNTER99 at checkout for his 30-day all access, you can get it for just $99. Huge savings there for the next 48 hours at sportsmemo.com. Coupon code Hunter99 for his 30-day all access. Let's talk these night games and then we can wrap it up here, Hunter. Philadelphia at Atlanta. We got the Eagles now laying 2 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 52.5 the total.
Yep, and I think this total's on the low side. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I could definitely see this being in the high 20s, mid 30s for the winning side. I think this Eagles team looks like a Super Bowl team, except without Nick Foles there. I mean, with adding Deshaun Jackson as the deep threat with speed, they didn't even utilize Ertz last week, and they didn't have to bust him out. They came out slow off the gate against Washington, and then they quickly figured it out. Carson Wentz looks healthy; he looks good. It just shows that they can put up points various ways on the ground with Sproles in the passing game. You got Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard back there. I think the Eagles are the better team here, but I don't think that I worry about the Eagles' defense in this one, especially with the Falcons getting embarrassed against the Vikings up in Minnesota last week. So these Falcons are returning home, and they're going to want some revenge from their bad Week 1 outing. So I think this is going to be another high-scoring game. I could see it being 28-38 or something like that. But I think -2 is more than enough for this Eagles team to cover.
All right, Hunter. And last game up, we got Monday Nighter Cleveland at the New York Jets. Look ahead here, guys. 6.5. Pretty much across the board, we're seeing Cantor here in Las Vegas laying a 6. That's Cleveland laying on the road, 44 the total. I faded Cleveland Week 1, Hunter. I'm thinking about going back, haven't pulled the trigger. How you feel about the Browns and the Jets?
Well, if Sam Darnold was playing on Monday, I would say that I would probably be on your side as well. But with him getting mono, who knows what he was doing after that first week and where he went after. But it looks like he's going to miss this game with mono, so I'm all on the Browns, -6.5. After that embarrassment last week. I think we're going to see a lot of teams that got beat by teams they shouldn't. I think we're going to see those teams put up a lot of points this week, and I think the Browns are probably should be 10-point favorites at this point with no Sam Darnold under center.
All right, and he's Hunter Englehart. That's the NFL Every Game on the Board podcast. We'll have him on again in the future. Check his packages out at sportsmemo.com, knowing the NFL and MLB. Any quick thoughts here, Hunter, just kind of off the top of your head in terms of baseball betting that you want to throw out there to the listeners? Anything you think they can use going forward to kind of help find more winners than losers?
I would, especially at this point, I would focus your totals plays on plays that are, I would focus your totals plays on teams that are fighting for playoff positions. A lot of the times this late in the year, teams that are out of the playoffs don't really care as much about runs given up or runs scored. It's kind of a guessing game because you got new guys coming up. You got, if they're down 2 runs, they might not, try to advance the runner over. If they're out of the playoffs, they might, bring in a pinch hitter or have a guy just hit a home run to kind of get his stats up. So if you're gonna play totals plays, which I know a lot of people like to do in baseball, especially with all the overs that we've been seeing, I would stick to those teams that are either that are fighting for a playoff spot or are on the edge of a playoff spot rather than teams who have clinched or are totally out of the playoffs.
And in terms of kind of digging deeper into what you're saying, focus your totals plays on those type of teams. What about, you mentioned, the ball carrying out. Everybody knows about that in baseball in terms of overs. I've always kind of been a contrarian bettor, so to speak. And, as everybody is looking towards overs, as, the summer air is starting to leave now and the ball maybe not carrying as far, do you think I'm out of line to start looking towards the unders going forward?
Well, actually, believe it or not, probably 90% of my totals plays, totals have been my most successful play so far this year. And I only like to play plus or around even line plays in baseball. 90% of my totals plays this year have been finding those unders. A lot of the times you'll find those, 2 or 3 under games that have a plus price next to them. And that's kind of been what I've focused on this year, is picking which one of those games has the biggest chance of hitting the under. So I've been playing unders all year long. It's worked for me. This juice ball theory and all these overs have kind of scared everybody to not wanting to take unders, which has opened the opportunity for me to get so many under plays for plus money. So I would definitely be on the unders. I'm not going to change my approach, and it's just finding those games where those unders are going to hit.
And last question here in MLB, fascinating AL wildcard race here. You think the Rays hold on to one of these 2 spots, or who do you like in this AL wildcard race, man?
Week at Texas, so and then they head to Kansas City. So this Texas team has not been playing very well. And obviously the Royals have been an absolute joke. And then they go back to Texas again after this. So if they can win probably 6 or 7 of these next 9 games, I don't see how anybody could catch them. Like I said, you put me on the spot with that question without looking at it. But now that I'm looking at it, I think they're going to be hard to catch after this next 9-10 games.
All right, he's Hunter Englehart. Follow him on Twitter at the Hunter Englehart. Remember the coupon code Hunter99 at checkout for 30-day all access. Yes, for only $99. Huge savings there at sportsmemo.com. Guys, best of luck with your bets this weekend. Have a fun, safe weekend. We'll be back on Monday talking NFL opening line report with Teddy Covers.